Hello and welcome to the Super Rugby Round 17 preview brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place rugby predictions and opinion. And joining me today to go through all of the games is Herman. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, Paul. Good to be back. Long time, long time.
It is, yeah, long time since you've been on. So as everyone who well, long-time viewers will recognise Herman as has been on the Hash Rugby Chat and the All Blacks Edition shows, but probably not since the turn of the year. So been a bit of a break. He's come back refreshed, recharged, and ready to talk all things rugby.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I'm trying to get like a Victor Matchfield beard too. Working pretty all right. And hairstyle too. I got long hair now too.
yeah, but hang on. You're in like 30 odd degrees heat. You don't need it, okay? Whereas here I am, stuck in New Zealand. I need the big beard to keep warm. It is cold, as you can see. I've got my fingerless gloves on. At the moment, it is it's not warm today. So, we kick off on Friday night with the Highlanders versus the Bulls. A couple of players missing through injury for the Highlanders, but not too many really. Just Ben Smith, Daniel Leonard-Brown, Tarangi Walden, Nabruah, Buckman, and Gatland. All three of those have been out for a long time now, but only 6 injuries. The Highlanders are managing to keep most of their players on the pitch, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing all right in that regard. They're doing all right. But I have to say, it's in a little bit sad. Was supposed to be Ben Smith's last home game in Dunedin, and he's not going to be around. So that's a bit sad.
It is a bit sad, but it is the last home games for both Luke Whitelock and Waisaki Naholo. So they'll be having, and they're having apparently they're having fans down on the pitch post game to celebrate that. Also, Luke, this is the 100th Super Rugby game for Luke Whitelock, 50 for the Crusaders and 50 for the Highlanders. So a bit of a hat tip to him. Well done, sir.
Yes, indeed.
That one, yeah, the youngest of four. Was it four brothers? 4 brothers that have played at least Super Rugby level. 2 of them have, 3 of them have made it to All Blacks. So we see Josh McKay in the Josh McNally. Anyway, Josh McKay in the 15 jersey in place of Ben Smith. Apart from that, we're looking at, as I say, a pretty much first choice team. The other big name to mention here, Liam Squire, is back for his first start and his first game of Super Rugby this season. That's got to be a boost for the Highlanders.
Oh, he's been sorely missed for them this season. Sorely missed. And I guess also from like a little bit of an All Blacks perspective, there's a lot of people who want to see a good performance here from Liam Squire. Can be done, look at Sam Cane, how long he was away, and he just came back right. I mean, but maybe Sam Cane was a bit freakish. Have we ever seen a player like he come back in top form like that?
It was very impressive. I think with him, I think what they did was they because of the nature of his injury and being a neck injury and something that people were scared could have paralysed him if things had gone slightly differently. You've got to say when you come back from that kind of shocking injury, you make sure that everything is 100% perfect before you step back onto that pitch. So I think he probably would have come back a few weeks earlier if it had been a different type of injury, and perhaps. But I think he came back, yeah, as you say, absolutely in top form.
Yeah, it's not that ridiculous to see,
I guess a couple of. I mean, this is a pretty strong bench for the Highlanders. You got Shannon Frizzell to come off the bench, Marty Banks, Thomas Umanga Jensen. They've definitely got some firepower for that for the last 20, haven't they?
Yes, they do, and I guess it's not too far-fetched to think, but that's probably what's going to undo the Bulls in the end, because Bulls is not too shabby, especially now because we're going to get to them soon, but yes, Pollard is back.
Interesting. Pollard to fly home for 2 weeks because this is the final week of a 4-week tour. So he did the first week of the tour and the last week of the tour, and spent 2 weeks back home injured. So yes, he comes back into the side, captaining the side. I'm never a fan of number 10s being the sort of captain, kicker, fulcrum, doing everything. But yeah, he's captain the side with Ombre's Papier. I mean, it's quite a lot of changes in this side from last weekend.
It is, but it kind of makes sense because this is the last game of a 4-game tour, so there are probably some some guys are pretty tired by now, so they got to give a couple of other guys a look in. But a few of these got new names coming in with the side. I don't think they're gonna make the side that much weaker actually. And yeah, and also the obvious thing is like Bulls without Pollard and Bulls with Pollard he's probably like the most important player for his super rugby franchise of all the franchises. I mean, they are really a different side when he's playing and he's not playing.
True, they are, but we'll talk about another player later on in that plays for the Rebels, who I think is actually perhaps more crucial to a team than Pollard. But yeah,
big call.
He is Pollard is one of the most important players when you look at the step down from him to Lebock. Definitely, yeah, I get what you're saying there. But yeah, players missing: Gallant, Speckman. I mean, really, Speckman last weekend up at Eden Park where it was wet and raining, and then he has to play that game, but then can't show his twinkle toes on the indoor nice dry surface of Dunedin. He'll be disappointed to be injured for this game. Those two are big names missing.
Yeah.
So it means that Russo comes in. I think Sage comes in and Russo. But so yeah, it's going to be. There are definitely changes to the team from that. Looking at the bench, it just doesn't have the same impact that the Highlanders bench does it. I mean, we've got Grobler on there with 3 caps, Jackson on there with 2 caps. There's a bit of an inexperienced bench for the Bulls.
Very much so. I got to confess, even Grobler and Jackson, who have have caps, I cannot recall. I've seen them play actually. It's embarrassing.
I'm not talking. Bulls caps, not Springbok caps here.
Oh, Bulls caps. Okay. Who are these guys?
Exactly. There's a couple of. There are a couple of. Some very. It looks a very inexperienced bench. So got to be question marks about they're going to be trying to keep players on as long as possible. You think from the Bulls for this one?
For sure. But there are some good names there too. But I think probably like the biggest star in Bulls is also missing, and we haven't even mentioned him yet.
Go on then.
No, Dwayne Vermeulen.
Yep, Dwayne Vermeulen is also missing. Yes, they've got a back row of Stiekamp, Lindenberg, and Staden are the back row. So
I don't think any of those 3 are first choices.
Oh, so it is. Yeah, it is a wounded Bulls.
Ruan Stenkamp, I think, is the only first choice, but I think both Staden and Liebenberg is not Liebenberg. The Love Mountain, that's a great name. Liebe means love in German.
Okay. So the Bulls, currently in 7th place in the playoffs. Obviously, it's very tight. Highlanders now down in 12th. They know they need 2 tri-bonus point wins to get themselves in the finals for the Highlanders, really. So I expect them to come out on firing on all cylinders and looking to get as many tries as possible in this game.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a fascinating one. It's do or die for both teams. It's like a playoff game almost. So a playoff game, where you're not even guaranteed to move on to the playoffs if you win. But this is last chance saloon for both teams.
I've gone Highlanders by 10. What's your call for this one?
I think that's a very fair call too, Paul. So I will probably go down to Highlanders by 6, but they will. Yeah.
We then jump across the ditch to Brisbane for the Reds versus the Blues. What the Reds are calling "Beat the Blues" round.
That's very smart, actually.
So they're using it as a mental health round as well. So good for them to.
Well, don't you see the connection between?
Interesting marketing ploys by the Reds for this one. Two of the most boring names in rugby, in Reds and Blues. I mean, come on, seriously, team names. That's pretty poor. So 3 changes to the starting lineup for the Reds. So pretty settled side. Isaac Rodder comes back after being rested for the Wallabies, replacing Sakalahi Lotto, who sits out for the same reason. And I think probably the big change here, or the big news, is that because Tate McDermott is injured, Scott Malaula, who made his debut off the bench, gets his first last weekend, gets his debut start this weekend against the Blues. So, he's going to need some help from Higginbottom and McGann, isn't he?
He is, but I think also that's a fair call because I think at the root of the troubles in the Red season is because they have a very accomplished forward pack, but how their halves can play behind such a dominant pack and frankly being useless many times it's mind-boggling many times. So I think, and especially Hamish Stewart, he's not a favorite player of mine. So I'm pretty keen to see someone else getting a shot on that one because I think how many games this season have we lost? I think we have almost all our losses is within 8 points, and in many of these games we had the domination in the forward pack. That means you have a pretty poor back line, doesn't it?
It does, yep. So Hamish Stewart to come off the bench to lose the game is Thurman's call in the 23 jersey this weekend. But if they were to lose Scott early on, Moses Sorovi would be coming on, and you've got to say that would that perhaps say if you're already down to a debut at scrum half, you're going to be that's got to be their concern. Key thing for them though is that Samu Karevi is playing, and let's be honest, he is a big part of this team.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's like probably the only like proper test player we have among the backs. Okay.
So sorry, yeah. Now I was counting up because the Blues have 11 players missing through either leave or injuries. That's 11 players missing through injury. On top of that, they've got 2 players missing through having their second. So Rico Iwani and Patrick Topolotu both missing this game for All Blacks rest. So 11 players missing for injury, another 2 missing being rested as well. The Blues really are getting down to the bottom of the barrel when searching for players, aren't they?
Yes, they are scraping something up from there. And I think this is going to hurt them. This is going to hurt them a lot. Because, Rico and Patrick is probably among 2 of the 3 standout performers for the Blues this season.
Yep, so you're losing Rico Iwani and Caleb Clark to injuries. That's both first-choice wingers gone. So Matt Duffy and Chalea get to start out on those wings. It's good to have Dalton Papili'i back, but that means they're playing 2 7s in Gibson and Papili'i. So it could be a little bit lightweight maybe. And still, we have Sonny Bill Williams is apparently a week away. He could have been rushed back for this game. They decided not to. So there's Manu Nonu and TJ Fiani in the midfield yet again.
Yeah. I think Manono gonna have a lot on his sleeve for this game because that's a very experienced backline that the Blues coming up with.
Yeah, I mean they've decided to bench Ruru and Harry Plummer, who have been the starting halfback combination for the past few weeks, and start with Pulu and Terry Black for this game, which is an interesting call.
Yeah.
We've already said we're just missing the first choice wingers as well. It's 6 changes to this game. Before I saw the lineups, I did go for the Blues by 3 points. But which way do you think? I mean, they've not won away from home all season. Which way do you think this will go?
I think Red's going to win it. I think they're probably motivated because they've been playing like pretty good both against the Chiefs and the Jaguares. They could have won both those games. And Chiefs and Jaguars are, at least the last week, they are like the form teams of a competition. So they're not too shabby in the end, the Reds. And as you said, with this Blues lineup, I can't see Blues winning this one. So I will go Reds by 7.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I know you're the Blues. And you? What's your prediction?
I said Blues by 3.
Reds
Blues jersey on. So maybe that's heart over head. On Saturday, we had the Crusaders versus Rebels. We've not seen the Crusaders lineup yet. It's not been released yet. But they did do their awards last night by the looks of things. So Sevu Reece was unsurprisingly Rookie of the Year. Player of the Year went to Scott Barrett, and Champion Crusader, whatever that means, was Richie Moanga there. So
fair call. That's three pretty obvious calls, I would say.
Yeah, three pretty obvious calls, I think, because I think Braden Ennell was a rookie last season, wasn't he? So he probably, although cause I think Braden Ennell's gone well as well, to be honest.
Yeah, yes.
So no team news on the Crusaders, but obviously they'll be looking to bounce back from that loss to the Chiefs last weekend. I think the Rebels are going to be on the end of a hiding, to be honest, especially when you look at their lineup. Let me just quickly run through this for you. So Faulkner, Ulesi, Talakai in the front row, Phillip, Coleman, Cottrell, Hardwick, Nazarani finish off the front row. Finish off the forwards. Then we get to fun and games. Ruru is going to start the game instead of Will Genia.
Yep.
Matt Tamua at 10, so no Quade Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Meeks, Reece Rodge, and then a back three of Tom English, Maddox, and Haylett Petty. Now, talking about the most important player to a Super Rugby franchise, I would say, the step down from Will Genia to Michael Ruru is bigger than Pollard to Libok. Would be my call.
Now you're breaking atoms, Paul. Well, considering, Genia hasn't been that convincing this season, in my opinion. I think seems like he's being like a little bit lazy. He do a lot of aimless kicking out there, and he's doing it for a long time. So I could see it could be a little bit of refreshing to try, but obviously he's better than that. But if you remember, did you watch the game between the Rebels and the Sunwolves 2 weeks ago?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to say Rebels and Brumbies, where Genia got in the head of the referee and changed the whole game in the second. No, okay.
No, he tried to make a tackle when his old buddy Mafi came storming down. And it didn't end good for him. He was proper knocked out, actually, Genia. And I'm still, this is an old complaint about it, like really old viewers of this show know. I'm questioning like how you can get knocked out and be ready to play 1 week later. You ever say, but they go through all the protocols, it's managed by doctors, but still, if you get knocked out cold, and he was terrible last week, it will Genia. He was.
No, I agree with you. I think that should be minimum. Definitely miss the following week if you fail a HIA.
He didn't fail. Yes, he did. He did fail. He did actually in the game. He did. But
yes,
then
that's what I mean. If you fail it in a game, miss the next game.
Yeah, that should just be mandatory. It doesn't matter what the tests are showing. Yeah. I agree.
So yes. So do you give the Rebels any chance in this game?
Well, I'm gonna put a bit of light in the darkness for Rebels here. There's one thing they might have going for them, but it's a little bit overlooked. It's that Rebels looked spent after 25 minutes in Fiji.
The Crusaders.
The Crusaders, yeah. Sorry, the Crusaders. And you can be fair to say after 80 minutes, all Crusaders players have emptied their tank, and probably a little bit beyond that too. I mean, when you go up to those few last percentage and try to take them out also, your recovery is going to take longer time than usual. So there's a chance that this whole week could have been a little bit tricky for the Crusaders, and I guess this is why we're holding back also their lineup, because this is going to be a very tricky selection for them, because obviously some players recover quicker than others, but when you empty your tank in trying conditions like that, like really warm and really humid, it's going to take a lot longer time before you're back. Usually I would say like they have like 1-2 recovery days, but they probably would have needed a little more. So I would say that's like the light in the tunnel for the Rebels. It's that the Crusaders might not yet be like back in full power.
Well, I'm going Crusaders by 15. I think after that loss, they're going to come out and want to make a statement with the finals being so close. Of course they want to make a statement, but can they? I mean, it's easy to say, we're going to make a statement, but if your body's not, I understand that, but say I'm backing them by 15. You it sounds like you're going to be a bit closer than that.
Yeah, I'm going to take it down to 8. Okay. 8, and I have at least little worry because Rebel. I mean, again, the Crusaders were so dominant. So it's so hard to question them because you put yourself like really, you open yourself up to be like picked on and look like a fool. But I think a fair few of us, even ones watching this, we have been seen for weeks with the Crusaders that their form is not. They just start looking human again.
Yeah, they're not on top form. Totally agree. I mean, they had two draws and a loss in the last 5 games, which is unheard of. And also, they didn't play very well against the Blues. Yep.
No, they didn't. So.
Yep.
So,
but anyway,
like, top form you don't live. Yeah, let's now back to top form, boys. It's not that easy. And the Rebel season is on the line too. So, but yeah, of course, it's Crusader in Christchurch, but.
So that should basically end the Rebels' hopes of finals footy, really, or at least definitely topping the group. We then have the one of the best derbies in Australia. We have the Waratahs versus the Brumbies, which should be an interesting game. Not seen any lineups for these two games.
I saw a lineup for the Waratahs on the internet just a few minutes ago.
Okay, so the Waratahs may have just been released. We are recording this in the afternoon in New Zealand time, but the Waratahs obviously came back and got that win over the Reds last weekend. Important game for them. Look, a team that has definitely been underperforming considering the talent they've got and the number of Wallabies they've got. But obviously the Folau issue has taken it out of them and has distracted them in this one. Have you found the lineup?
I find actually both teams lineup. Let me give me just a second here. I send first to you.
No, just say that out loud. That's fine.
All right. Wait. I find Brumbies first on this site. Hold on, it's coming. I'm just scrolling. Sorry, dear viewers. Here we go. No. Come on. Here it is. Yep. Task starts. I'm going starting from with the forwards.
Yep.
And go back there. So it's Tom Robertson, Damien Fitzpatrick, and Sekopi Kepu in the front row. In the engine room, we have Tom Stanifort. Who's that?
And playing quite a bit for them in the engine room just to get this.
And Rob Simmons. In the back row is Lachlan Swinton, Michael Hooper, and Michael Wells. Half is Phipps and Foley. And on the wings, we have Curtis Rona and Alex Newsom. Midfield is Lalakai Fokate and Adam Ashley Cooper. And on fullback, we got Curtis Beale.
So, yeah, so the just going through that, no names that kind of jump out at me as sort of major omissions, and you wouldn't expect them to in such a key derby game.
No, but let's go through the bench too, so you can see if we have Andrew Tuala, Harry Johnson Holmes, Chris Talakai, then it's Jed Holloway, Will Miller, Jake Gordon, these Islander, Tua Talatasasi. That's a brutal name for a Swedish person to pronounce. and Cam Clark.
So
it's not like a super strong bench at all.
It's not a super strong bench, but I don't think they're missing that many from their first 15. So and they'd be looking to back up that win over the Rebels last weekend. But it's still a tough ask for them in this. The Brumbies realising that especially if the Rebels have lost in Christchurch, which we all expect, the Brumbies know that if they win this game, they will be able to tie up the Australian Conference. Actually, maybe even if they just get a bonus point, they could do it. So I think, the Brumbies are going to be definitely very... and also they are 6 wins out of their last 7 games. So they've hit form right at the right time.
Indeed.
And that's even without Pocock. I mean, because Pocock's obviously been out for a long time.
Yes. No, Brumbies probably has been like a little bit like of a success story of a season. Because they look almost look like a settled test side, Like very, very heavy team to play against, They just grind you down eventually. And to be fair, they have some flair too. Let me turn it on.
They have been, obviously, there's been some criticism of them for their
maul.
The line-out maul, or not so much criticism of it, but more criticism that they're over-reliant on it and don't have anything else to show. Now, if you're a Patreon of DrivingMaul, I went through some key stats of from Super Rugby, and you'll be able to have a look at that and see how that's impacted their meters made, etc., and where they stand on those kind of stats. Because the Brumbies definitely stick out on some key stats where you think, wow, their position on the table doesn't match the stats compared to other teams. So yeah, an interesting listen. If you head over to to patreon.com/DrivingMaul, you can get access to that for as little as $1 a month. Link down below in the notes.
So if I may ask, Paul, are you saying that the stats are showing that Brumbies should be have less points or more points?
In some cases, less points.
All right. That's very interesting.
They trending compared to, because if you consider that they're from a points point of view, they're up there with the sort of they're up there kind of in the sort of Hurricanes.
They're number 4. They're number 4 of all teams if you make a fair ladder.
Number 4. So so if you compare their meters made and the number of passes they do compared to say the Crusaders, the Jaguares, and the Hurricanes, it does show some interesting. It doesn't correlate necessarily, which I think to me it's good because it shows that different styles of rugby can be successful. And there's also some interesting ones about the Jaguares as well, and especially about the Jaguares scrum. But yes, if you want to get those, head over to patreon.com/DrivingMaul, and I'll talk you through all those stats.
But sorry about Brumbies. It's like both their hookers have made hat-tricks this year. Is that correct?
I'd have to go and have a look at the stats, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I think that's going to be the first ever in the Super Rugby season that both your hookers make hat-tricks during this.
So, I'm back. I think the Brumbies will have more on the line here. I'm backing the Brumbies by 3. I think they're the form team. Which way do you think this one's going to go?
Oh, I'm going to stick my chin out here and say that the Waratahs actually going to win this one because, again, I've been impressed by, they lost against the Jaguars, but they were right in it, and it took a very gritty win over the Reds. So I think, what I'm trying to say is I think Waratahs' pack is a little bit underrated. I think they're well up for the challenge that Brumbies going to bring to them. And, Waratahs had like a little bit of a strange season, but I think basically they've been a little bit hard and a little bit unlucky. They are better. So I'm going to go Waratahs by 5.
Oh, interesting. So then we head over to South Africa for the Lions versus the Hurricanes. Now, the Hurricanes are a side that, we've not got the lineups for these ones, but the Hurricanes have had to call up Salesi Rayasi to replace Wes Hooson, who's had to return injured, and also Danny Tualaha, who is who's gone back. Proctor, that's right. Matt Proctor has also had to return to New Zealand because of injury as well. So, 2 players that the Hurricanes have lost to injury in their touring squad. Whether those 2 players will actually make it into the starting lineup, I don't know. But for me, a lot of people were down on the Canes last weekend, expecting them to lose, but they came through. And for a side that's only lost to the Crusaders and the Jaguares, there's a lot of people being down on them currently, haven't there?
Yes. And what's really also what I think about the performance last week is that was probably the best forwards performance I've seen from the Hurricanes, because that's always been the weak underbelly of the Hurricanes, the pack. But this time it looked pretty gritty. And Artis Savea was out of his world in that game. I thought he had 6 turnovers at the breakdown. So, and with all his menacing running and everything, he looked proper world class. So maybe, but as we've seen in many games, if you have just because you have one world class among the forwards, that's not going to help you too much.
No, so, but this Hurricanes side do know how to win. As I said, they've only lost 3 games this season. Have they been dominant? Have they shown fantastic performances? Probably not on the whole. Whereas the Lions, they absolutely dominated the Stormers last weekend, and yet the Lions are kind of struggling in that. Actually, no, sorry, they're second now in that South Africa conference. Obviously, so close. They were last weekend. The Lions and the Stormers were both last weekend. Now, yes, suddenly the Lions have jumped up to second. But 8 wins, 6 losses. They've got a negative points difference of 36. They really have been blowing hot and cold. So even though they've won more games than they've lost, they've actually given up. They've allowed in more points than they've won, than they've scored. They're a side that really does blow hot and cold, so it's very difficult to actually back them to win any game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching them pretty much all season, and we've been a little bit up and down in the beginning of the season. Is that they have blooded a lot of new young players, a lot. They have done the hard work with that, and as we all know, when you're putting a lot of new young guys in a Super Rugby team in a Super Rugby competition, you're gonna get losses. Doesn't matter that you are one of the top teams in Super Rugby for the last 3 years. But now we're starting to. I mean, this is for me. This is probably the game of a round when it comes to quality-wise, because these are two of the best teams in Super Rugby for many years now, and it seems like both of them are hitting top form just in the right time to do it. But I think, and we have like the classic thing. What's going to hurt the Canes is altitude, of course.
It is. But
I think
the Canes have got the bench to cope with that, and I'm backing the Canes by 3.
No, I'm gonna go Lions by 7. I see.
Wow.
Yeah, I see. I mean, when was the last time Canes won in Johannesburg? I mean, I seen Canes so many times look awesome in the first half, and then it's just falling apart. And it's so obvious it's the altitude. That's just altitude and a quality team, of course. No, I go Lions by 7 here.
Okay. The next game we can probably cover over pretty quickly: Stormers versus Sunwolves. The Sunwolves, basically, since they've been told they're getting cut, have fallen off a cliff and have been pretty poor. The Stormers, on the flip side, have been, coming off the back of a bad drubbing against the Lions. Sure, they're last in the Africa Conference, but they're only 5 points behind the Lions. I'm backing the Stormers to pick up a try bonus point win here, and Stormers by 15 for me.
That's very brave of you, Paul.
So what's your call then for this one?
I'm going to go Stormers by 10. I'm a little bit conservative because look at Stormers' injury list. They pretty much have all the star Springboks are injured for them.
Very true. They do have a lot of injuries. But anyway, that's a foregone. That's a home win. Let's brush over that one. The final game of the round, Jaguares versus the Sharks. Now, this game kicks off Sunday morning, New Zealand time. And already, I'll be doing post-match reactions to 3 games this weekend, to the Highlanders versus I've gone blank who they're playing now, the Bulls, the Crusaders versus the Rebels, those 2 evening games in New Zealand. And also on Sunday morning, I'll be doing post-match reactions to the Jaguares versus the Sharks. And joining me for the Jaguares versus the Sharks post-match reaction will be Herman. So if you want to get some more of the two of us, dial in for that. Straight after the final whistle, we'll be live on YouTube, giving you post-match reaction to that game. Now, Jaguares, they've won 7 out of their last 8 games, I think it is.
Yes.
They're on a very rich vein of form. Top of the South African group. Got these. And if they top that group, obviously they'll be the first ever home quarterfinal in Argentina.
And not only that, if they win this game, they have secured also a home semifinal if they were to win the quarterfinal.
So everything looking good for the Jaguares. Things not looking quite so good, Rosie, for the Sharks. Again, who are the Sharks? 1-6, drawn 1, lost 7. So a 50-50 ratio. Effectively, they go from losing to the Reds 1 week to drawing with the Crusaders a couple of weeks later. Very talented side, but again, up and down results. Looking at some of the players they're missing on tour, so the Beast is out injured, as is Cameron Wright, and so is Aka van der Merwe. Van Merwe is also missing as well. So at least 2 starters there missing from the touring side.
Yeah, but I think the only thing that's really got going for the Sharks, because I think Sharks has only 1 win at home this season. They have pretty much all the wins on the road. So that's we have to take that into consideration. They do touring really well, and Jaguars coming back from a tour too. So that could help them. Could help them. And also Jaguares got a pretty bad injury news today. Ramon Moyano, who shares hooker duties with Creevy, is out for the Super Rugby season. He will be back for Rugby Championship, but he's out for the Super Rugby season. So that's a pretty big letdown for him. But I think in this game they could probably work around it by letting Creevy doing like the long shift and let him play almost like the full 80 if they need to, because they play the Sunwolves next week, so they can give Creevy a rest before the playoffs. But it's going to be a concern for the playoffs, because that's been one of the real upsides for the Jaguars this season, that they have two top quality hookers. That really helps you around there.
Yeah, but as you say, the Sharks 3 wins at home, 3 wins away, so they're equally bad as they are away. No, 3 wins and a draw away, because of that draw away at the Crusaders. So they've only lost twice away from home. So as you say, yeah, decent. They were decent on tour, beating the Tars and then also losing to the Chiefs. So
Jaguars beat them in when we played in South Africa too.
Yeah, and it was a big. I mean, it was 17 points to 51, a 34-point win for Jaguares.
And that was like the week after the Sharks had smashed the Lions, wasn't it?
That's correct. Yes. So. That is the biggest win the Jaguares have had all season, and they've only had 3 wins by double-digit points. This year, so the chance of it the chance of it blowing out is pretty slim, because I say they've only had 3 wins in double digits. They usually they give up quite a lot of losing bonus points. There are a lot of tight games involving them. However, they did blow out against the Sharks. I'm backing the Jaguares by 7. What's your call, sir?
I'm backing them also by 10. I will back them with 10 points, because I want to share it a little bit. I spoke to an Argentine friend early this morning, just when I wake up, and he told me not all sections in the stadium were open, but most of them are open, and it's almost a sellout. A Super Rugby game selling out.
Wow.
It's going to be, according to him, it's going to be at least 30,000 people there.
Whoa. That'll be
yeah, and in an Argentinian stadium, so it's going to be some atmosphere there. I tried to see who's going to ref this game, because there's going to be some pressure.
So there you go. So this is one to watch. The other one to watch is that Lions versus the Hurricanes from a quality point of view. I say I will be live straight after the Highlanders versus the Bulls on Friday night New Zealand time. The Crusaders versus the Rebels Saturday evening New Zealand time, and then also the Jaguares versus the Sharks on Sunday morning in New Zealand time. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those shows. There should be a little face up there. Oops, up there, sorry. One of those sides anyway. Just click on the face. That'll let you subscribe. Down below that face, there's a link to patreon.com/DrivingMaul, where you can become a supporter of the channel. And I say get access to those exclusive videos that I do for my supporters. And enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.